Welcome back to KTN Prime. Few politicians in recent memory have moved from the periphery to the epicenter of Kenya's political landscape as fast as the man sitting across me tonight. We're having a sit down with the bold, courageous, and fearless senator of Nyandarua County. Also happens to be the Secretary General of the Democracy for Citizens Party, DCP. He believes that fear is not respect, and neither is respect fear. And respect is earned and not demanded, and his demand for accountability from the executive under President Ruto has earned him praise and criticism in equal measure. Their goal is to make Ruto a one-term president, but can they with less than a year to the general election? What a timely conversation. Senator, thanks for your patience. We continue conversing on matters to do with national politics and governance issues. And I'd like us to hear from your colleagues in the 13th Parliament, including other broad-based leaders who seemed to be rubbed the wrong way as they dismissed your party leader's claims as the thoughts of a leader who's desperate for publicity. Let's listen in.
You know, these guys are hiding. The truth is, most of these people are fighting Ruto on ethnic grounds, not on economy. If it is economy, actually we should be called to be celebrated. Yeah. Some of us should be given awards in this country because we have removed Kenya to where it was almost tipping.
Rigathi is on a fishing expedition. Yes. Desperate for attention to salvage his dwindling political virtues. And this one I want to make it very clear to him. ODM, my party, will never be in any formation that has Rigathi Gachagua inside. Yes. For now, into the future, and even for the next 50 years, if he's still alive.
He has made numerous wild and frivolous allegations without proof. He is determined to dilute objective national security agencies by aiming his petty political arsenals to diligent security officers. He is desperate to bastardize security agencies, to cause anarchy and subvert the rule of law.
Well, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Bitterness, conspiracy theories, unsubstantiated accusations. What do you make of the reactions?
And I wonder whether we'll also try and answer that question. You know, you asked they want to unseat President William Ruto in 1 year. Can they? I wonder whether we'll get
definitely.
To that,
we'll get to
that
the politics. Yes.
And, you know, some of these things are actually laughable. One of those people you've seen there speaking, I think it was Junet, or I don't know who, he's saying that Rigathi Gachagua is looking for publicity. Yet, he's actually, 50 members of parliament or 60 are actually responding to the very same person they are saying that he's looking for publicity. If he's nothing, why were they responding? What were they doing? If they actually knew that he's just looking for publicity, what were they responding to? The other guy there, I think it was John Bandi, said that we are opposing William Ruto from an ethnic perspective.
Not based on facts.
Do you know, and I think the best illustration would be the party that I lead as the Secretary General has participated in like 5 or 6 by-elections. The by-elections that we have had candidates. And we have only won 1 in the Mount Kenya region. The people of Kisa East are not from our ethnic composition, but they voted for a DCP candidate. Mm-hmm. The people of Narok town, they voted for a DCP candidate. And now the people from Muadikir, which is perceived to be William Ruto's stronghold, 37% of them believed in the narrative that we have been having.
But you still lost.
We still lost,
yes.
But we won in the Kisa.
Definitely.
And we also won in Narok.
Yeah, 3 MCA races, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
So let me tell you, Rogers, the point was not to shoot the messenger. Forget about the messenger. Assume that statement was read by Rogers, not Rigathi Gachagua. Were the issues that he raised addressed? You know, when you look at Rigathi Gachagua, Kimani Ichung'wah responding to Rigathi Gachagua, you sometimes feel for him. He's a person who is running against shadows. The only response that I heard him say is that You are speaking about goons. And you know I sat with you in your office. And you organized for goons to go and attack Uhuru Kenyatta. And I asked myself, Kiwani Shongwa, this attack happened more than 2 years ago. Now, Rigathi Gachagua is no longer deputy president. He has left power. You are the people who are in power. Why have you never taken any action if you have such evidence? They're the people in power now. He can't lament like those of us who are not who are out here. They have all the instruments of the criminal justice system. How comes he has never reported today? Now, to whom is he reporting? How are we supposed to? What are we supposed to do with that information? If he knows really that Rigathi Gachagua had goons who went to attack the
Northlands Farm.
The Northlands Farm.
Yeah.
Number two, does he also know that being an accomplice to a crime is a crime itself? That you sat with somebody who was organizing for a crime? Let me tell you, they are catching on a straw. I've told you that there are issues that were raised that are very salient. I expected the Minister for National Treasury to tell us. Rigathi Gachagua said that many transactions, about I think 11 billion from the e-citizen transactions are untraceable, because that's something that was said by the Auditor General. I expected him to respond to us and tell us, now these are the stopgap measures that we have done. I mean, this is what we have done. This is actually the truth. You said this is actually not what is true. But they're just attacking him, the person, because they have no answers to all these issues that have been raised. Now, the issues on attack on places of worship, these are specific cases that you know yourself. A church was attacked. Church of Christ was I'm trying to look for that word that was used by William Ruto himself when he was attacked in church in a place called Keno. He said that this is a holy place and the police should never get here. Now it's not just the Agase. He's shooting at people inside the church. And nothing has, nothing has been done. No action has been taken. The people who have been arrested have all been released arbitrarily. I mean, the people who were arrested for the Wetima attack, nobody was taken to court. Rigathi Gachagua raised issues about IPOA. Police officers who have been reported through the IPOA mechanism are of 1,000. Only less than 10 have found their way to court. I myself, when we were attacked in a place called Gonda, in July of last year, went to IPOA. We wrote statements. We reported even to the internal audit department of the National Police Service. With
supporting evidence, the whole shebang.
We even went further and went and met the Inspector General of Police. We took our vehicles. They were taken for ballistic examination. It was established that the guns that shot at us were government guns. Nothing has ever been done to those policemen who attacked us. The OCBD who was commanding those goons was called Cyrus Maina. We reported to the IPOA, to this many. Now we are 1 year down the line. Nothing has happened. So therefore, how would we not conclude that these people were working for the people who are in the high offices in government? This question that the DCI is cutting around of the unfortunate death of Dr. Mutiso, which my party leader has said. Initially, the DCI was saying, oh, it is not the police, oh, it was not the police. But when he said that he actually released the names. He said in the morning, DCI spoke in the afternoon. So therefore, had Rigathi Gachagua not spoken in the morning, most likely the DCI would not have spoken in the afternoon. Now, Rigathi Gachagua has said it is the DCI who has aided them to run away from Kenya. Our borders have border control. We have border patrol. How comes a police officer ran away all the way from Kikuyu and went and crossed border to Uganda? And if Kizza Besigye was arrested here, Kizza Besigye was arrested in Kenya, out of collaboration of Kenyan authorities and Ugandan authorities, then it is possible also for the Kenyan authorities to collaborate with Ugandan authorities to bring those people back home. But it tells you that they were being aided to to just run away because they have been found out. They were not meant to be found out. But now that they have been found out, they are being aided to run away.
So at the end of the day, you're mentioning that, apologies for that. At the end of the day, you're mentioning that Gachagua has made serious allegations and they can be backed up. Because part of the speech from the pro-government leaders was that, you know, he's making allegations and he who claims must give proof. And perhaps to prove the point, there's one of the issue that was flagged as false when your party leader mentioned that Ruto, as the commander-in-chief, has failed to release an aircraft accident investigation report on General Francis Ogola's 2024 air crash incident. That report was released in April 2025, if I'm not wrong, and is publicly available. Hence, perhaps that's one of the claims that was false.
But now, hey, that speech was 91 pages. Mm-hmm. If one out of one paragraph out of like 100 or 200 paragraphs was wrong, then that is already an A. It's not a problem. If he got just and by the way, yeah, even that report on General Ogola that was released in April, are you aware that it was just an interim report? We have not had the complete report of what exactly happened to General Ogola. To this minute, nothing has. And you know, General Ogola was not just an ordinary Kenyan. He was the serving CDF, but he is the first to die in office. And the circumstances under which he flew in a plane that he doesn't fly with every time is what was curious in the whole situation. So I'm telling you, Rogers, government is made of many departments, and government must be accountable. With great responsibility comes even greater accountability. If William Ruto does not want to be accountable, therefore he cannot carry any responsibility. If his cabinet secretaries don't want to be accountable, if they can't be accountable to the people of Kenya, then they should not hold these responsibilities, because nobody is picked from home to come and become a cabinet secretary. Nobody is forced to be a cabinet secretary. If you are finding it difficult to answer to the people of Kenya, because forget about now regarding Gachagua the person. Look at the issues that he has raised. You are the cabinet secretary for Interior. Okay. You have been told that you are running a parallel militia of goons. It is being seen, Rogers. You have no assurance that you leave and go home now, because, and by the way, you may take it as a joke, but somebody told me, it is even making me wonder in my mind. Mm-hmm. When William Ruto came to power, he sent police officers to Haiti to go and combat gangs. Now back home, we have many gangs. Did he know that we shall have gangs, so he had sent them for benchmarking?
Rhetorical question, I guess. But now, let's talk about something that transpired this week as well. Your political competitors, President William Ruto's UDA and the ODM party, partners in broad-based government, held a retreat in Naivasha, and they mentioned that winning the 2027 general election is vital for Kenya's future, stating that the broad-based government has no option but to secure victory because the political opposition lacks a clear agenda. Let's hear verbatim from the horse's mouth.
Inshallah, we must win the next election. Not for your sake, for the sake of Kenya. Because the alternative is difficult to fathom. The other side is in chaos. I don't have to say that. I don't have to explain. You remember the difficult meetings we had on housing? The difficult meetings we had on implementing health, on making sure that we have a new formula to fund our education, and on all the other issues. And I remember telling you then that it is not necessary to be popular all the time.
Well, The alternative is difficult to fathom, referring to you, perhaps hinting to what he calls a state of disarray within the opposition, perhaps lack of policy, as they've mentioned time and time again, or the push and pull between the principles within the united opposition. How would you refer, or rather respond to such statements from the head of state?
First, I don't know whether you should continue calling it the UDA and the ODM marriage, because from where I sit, both parties have bled substantively. I was elected on UDA, I'm no longer a member of their party. Mm-hmm. They have lost their deputy party leader, who was Rigathi Gachagua, who is now on the other side. So it's a share of UDA marrying another share of ODM, because you see even the ODM that we have now has already also lost substantively. Just this week, I think yesterday, we received 10 ODM MCAs from Kajiado. That tells you that there's mass exodus from both teams. However, and I want to reiterate what I said to you, Rogers. We don't expect kind words from William Ruto, because he knows what we are doing. He knows that the formula that we are applying, we are actually now properly employing the scorched earth policy. We are giving him no breathing space. We are ensuring that we are taking him to such a tight corner. And you know William Ruto. You have seen William Ruto. You know William Ruto is cornered. You can see it even in his body language. There is nothing like saying that we don't have a choice of winning the next election. Power belongs to the people. It does not belong to William Ruto. It has been donated to him by the people. It is the people who voted for him. Before him, there were other people who were saying katamiti. Mm-hmm. Before him, there were others who were chest dumping. But the people of Kenya elected him, and they said, this is the person that we want. And I actually feel so bad that John Badi is calling us tribal. The fact that he first didn't vote for William Ruto, we voted for him. And we voted for him. I'm from an ethnic community called Kikuyu. And I voted for William Ruto knowing that he's a Kalenjin. I knew that he's a Kalenjin. He was never Kamau. He was never Waidera. Okay. I knew he was a Kalenjin. Yeah. So calling me tribal first is very offensive. Point number two. If you are fighting a team and that team is in disarray, would you be unhappy or happy about it? If indeed you are in disarray, why would William Ruto be worried? He should be very happy. Because if we are in disarray, it will be then very easy for him to win over us. Let me finish, because you asked it as a broad question.
Indeed,
and I want to answer it as a broad question. Yeah. And I only speak for my party. But these are things that I have heard from my party leader. Mm-hmm. As a party, we have a presidential candidate called Rigathi Gachagua. And we are doing everything that we can to push him all the way to the ballot. But we have only one enemy. All of us have one enemy. One enemy called William Ruto. In fact, even all these choir people in his praise and worship, they are not our enemies, quote unquote. Our enemy is William Ruto. So therefore, even as we push as a party, we are pushing Rigathi Gachagua to be the presidential candidate. We are sending him to a national table. And we have told him, you have to sit with the other people at the national table. And once you sit at the national table, you have to give us one person. And it will be chaotic here, because everybody feels that they have their strengths. Rigathi Gachagua is a very good mobilizer. Rigathi Gachagua has the necessary experience. He's been there. He was a DU long time ago. He's been a long career public servant. He was the PA of a president who served for a full term. He's been the deputy president. He's been a party leader. He's been many things. Okay. So he has many advantages. He comes from a very big voting bloc. I think the biggest amongst all the people that we have. But that is not enough. That is not the only parameter. There are many things that will be considered. And whatever they will consider, provided they give us one presidential candidate. So each of them will come to the national table and they will give their, their thinking. I think I'm the best because of this and this. I think I'm the best because of this and this. And around that time, it will look like it is chaotic. But the fact that all of us know the danger of a second William Ruto presidency, all of us are aware, well aware in our minds. Rigathi Gachagua is aware, Kalonzo Musyoka is aware, George Natembeya is aware, Edwin Sifuna is aware, Eugene Wamalwa is aware. Every one of us is actually aware that there is a very potent and potential danger. And you see, if you look at the 1992 arrangement, because many people are saying, oh, if you don't agree, you know, you find yourself in the 1992 arrangement, even if it was to happen, you still not be president.
Why?
Because we have a new constitution.
50+1.
Daniel Moi ruled for 5 years with 37% of support in the Republic. So therefore, we want to push William Ruto and get him to such a tight corner that it will even be difficult, even if we were not to agree, for him to participate in the leader.
But hear me out, sir. At the end of the day, as much as you're giving the promise that they will unite under one candidate to face off against President William Ruto, this is a critical time where 1 year to the general election, your competitors, by the way, have formed a committee, a 10-member joint committee that will craft the manifesto and a coalition framework for the 2027 general election. It seems the ball is rolling on their end. On your side, just recently we had Justin Muturi, we had a couple of leaders from Mount Kenya actually criticize your party leader for downplaying their significance in terms of those political parties and their relevance in Mount Kenya.
I've told you, you would say about what Justin Muturi said last week, but you would not want to, to even comment on the fact that they were with the party leader yesterday.
We saw the photos.
So therefore, this push and pull will be there. If you speak about this Ray, just now tell me, between our team and their team, which one would be said to be in this Ray? A sitting deputy president is seated here, and somebody there is saying that our irreducible minimum is the seat of the running mate, and a sitting deputy president is seated here. Members of his community are walking out. Have you seen anybody crossing over from our side to their side? Not at the moment, because nobody would run to a burning house. But you are seeing people moving from their side, coming, crossing over, because they can actually see and they know. And let me tell you, this is just a tip on the iceberg. If you think about Olkalau, where I personally did that campaign, and I was there for 60 days, Olkalau is the silver bullet of this fight against Mr. William Ruto. It gave us very, very salient lessons that we are carrying to 2027. Number one thing that William Ruto believes in, and when he speaks about manifesto, these people are just there. One thing that is at the back of his mind, he always says, is that we don't have money, and he has the money. Of course, he has the money. But from Olkalau, it has been proven that money is a very insignificant component of the next general election. The people of Olkalau, by the way, let me tell you, Rogers, in Olkalau, towards the last 3 weeks, nobody would give you change. Nobody would give you change. The only currency that was operating there was 1,000 shillings currency. Even if you get to a hotel and you want to just take tea and mandazi, you pay with 1,000, you go home. There's no change. You were just, the currency was just 1,000 shillings. Money was there in plenty.
But I hear you out, sir. At the end of the day, I'll have to counter it being the devil's advocate, because it's the job. 9 out of 10 parliamentary races were won by this broad-based arrangement, UDA, ODM. You only won one in Olkalau, speaking of parliamentary. So you can't wish...
How many have you participated in?
Because as a united opposition?
As a party, I speak for the DCP party. I'm the Secretary General of the DCP party. You can't ask me to tell you what happened in Kasipul Kapondo. I mean, we never had a candidate. We never bothered ourselves in it. You can't ask me what happened in Bere. I mean, we didn't have a candidate. Our partners had a candidate. We supported them.
And you supported them. That's the point. We were just
mean,
speaking about Justin Muturi being a united opposition principle. So staying away from him while...
We're not staying away from him. But there's a reason why there was no DCP candidate and we had a party. But before I lose my train of thought,
yes.
That was the first thing. That money is just a small component. Number two, much as government believes that they can scuttle democracy using state-sponsored violence, goons and what have you, it was proven from Orkalau that the people are so willing and ready to defend themselves. I'm sure you saw an old woman, 50 to 60 years, facing a goon with a gun and telling that goon, shoot me, but I'm not leaving this place. Until the goons, I mean, they were overrun by the people. We didn't have anybody that we had employed as security to go and guard the vote. The people themselves guarded the vote.
Yeah.
The third thing, and by the way, I don't know where you come from, Rogers, but I want to tell the people of Kenya because I have this opportunity. You know, I'm the senator for Nyandarua, and I'm also the senator for Kalau. Having spoken to the people of Kalau, we are very, very willing to go and help, to work on people to come and benchmark, and to even go and do peer sharing of experience in other constituencies in terms of how to guard our votes. Because election day on the general election in 2027 will be Democracy Day. We'll do it the Orkara way. The Orkara way is voting and waiting until the last vote has been counted. I saw Murkomen saying that you should vote and go home. Go home where? Go home why?
But as long as you're 400 meters from the polling station,
yes,
that's within the law.
It's not a problem. You see, within 400 meters, we are stopping goons from accessing the polling stations because that is what happened in Orkalau. There was a reason why these goons wanted to get into the polling station. They didn't just go, they were not voters there. They were not election officials. They were not security operators. There is a reason why they wanted to get into the polling station. So on election day, on the 10th of August 2027, we are only taking 2 meals, breakfast and dinner. Heavy breakfast, go and vote. You stay at the polling station the whole day until the vote has been counted and it has been filled on the form 34A. That's the only time you can go home. And it will be Democracy Day, and we'll take it very seriously because I don't know whether, Rogers, you actually can see because you are employed by the Standard Group and you are paid. I'm sure you're able to look at your pay slip. Yours. Forget about the other people that you're speaking about. You know what has happened to your pay slip. If you allow another 5 years, if this man can do this to us when he's seeking the election, you can imagine how much more he can do when he's not seeking the election.
So speaking of this clamor to remove Ruto from office, has DCP and in extension the United Opposition started plans to roll out a manifesto, policy articulation? Is this in the offing?
By the way, do you know how we are writing our manifesto? Let me give you a glimpse of how we are writing our manifesto.
So it's in the process?
Every time we go out, like we went to Kajiado today, we were told that William Ruto promised something called Bima ya Mifugo. I don't know whether you have heard something like that. Bima ya Mifugo was meant to be an insurance for livestock that are lost during the dry season. Now, every time we go out with our technical people, so that as we engage the people, we also pick the feedback. Because the problems of Kajiado are not necessarily the problems of Nyandarua. Maybe they would need boreholes to give drinking water to the animals, and we want irrigation for our crops in Nyandarua. So therefore, every place is unique in terms of their needs. So in terms of writing our manifesto, everywhere we go out, and that's why we go out every time, we go to the technical people so that they can keep picking, so that they can keep picking, so that when we draft our manifesto, it will have the aspirations of the people of Kenya. Yeah.
Interesting. Since we're in the season of political transfers, since you're a football fan, Most recently, we've seen Gatundu South MP, Lamu Woman Rep, joining the growing list of defections from the UDA party. I'd like to hear how DCP is gearing up to deal with some of these leaders who, without mentioning names, some persecuted your party leader and will now be seeking camaraderie in one way or the other. I'd like to equally quote Moses Kuria verbatim, because he says this: for the next 90 days, government will release elected leaders in Mount Kenya to defect to DCP. They're not going there with empty pockets courtesy of a handsome exit bonus. Thus, winning DCP nominations will not be a big deal. Winning the war is more important than winning the battle, end of quote. So perhaps speak to the claims of political moles being dispatched to provide intel and perhaps scatter your plans.
Honestly, Rogers, quoting Moses Kuria on a show as serious as this, and also engaging the Secretary General of a serious party as myself, is a bit offensive.
Why is that?
I mean, who is Moses Kuria?
He served as a CS,
So who is
as
he?
a member of parliament.
So who is he?
He's a Kenyan.
So?
There's a freedom of expression,
But
sir.
he's a loose cannon.
Is he?
He has always been. I mean, he says many things that you can't take seriously. If you honestly take Moses Kuria seriously, I would be very surprised.
So is winning the battle, winning the war?
Just forget about Moses Kuria.
Let's speak about them.
Yeah, let's speak about the
Fair point.
The matter as it is. I am sure you know that we had a late night meeting because as a party, we always want to listen to the people. It's our philosophy, it's our mantra that we have to listen to the people. And whatever decision we are arriving at has nothing to do with what has happened in the past. The party is not Rigathi Gachagua. The party is not John Methu. The party is the people. I mean, it's the people. It has nothing to do with what you did to who you did to what. There are many people who didn't vote against Rigathi Gachagua who have now crossed over to the other side. There are those who voted to remove him, who are with, who are just somewhere, not with us, not with the other people. You know, Senator for Viga, for example, voted to remove Rigathi Gachagua. But we are now comrades. We are Senator Onyonka. We are all now doing the same thing. But however, I don't want to be preemptive, because I am sure you saw that we formed a 7-member committee so that we can interrogate who are these people who want to join our party. What are you coming to do? What are you offering? And it's nothing monetary. Because why do we need the money? When we needed the money, maybe was when we were growing the party. The party has grown. Why do we need the money now? To do what?
Running a presidential campaign is not cheap, you know.
So how would 10, 20, 50 million from a member of parliament help us in running a presidential campaign?
Half a loaf is better than none.
But we went to Narok the other day. We had a meeting of 15,000 people. How much did we require? You know, many people want to complicate. It's the first time I'm engaging myself in a presidential campaign. Many people want to make a very simple and straightforward matter very complex. I was there. The only thing that we spent, I am the Secretary General of the party. The only thing that I spent was my fuel. The only thing that the party leader spent was his fuel. Honestly, you can't say that a man who has been in public service, who is 62 years, cannot afford fuel.
Fair enough. So how do you deal with the moles? That committee?
That's the point. So, I mean, we'll be looking at, first, who is this person? What do you want? You want to run again? Yes. Where have you been? What have you been doing? What are you doing now? What are the people saying? We then receive the views of the people.
Okay.
Because the people are the voice of the party. But one more thing, and this is my personal opinion, it has nothing to do with the party. Because besides being a Secretary General, I'm also a person with a head.
Yeah.
And a head that is operational for that matter. Our philosophy as a party has been against betrayal. So sometimes it will put us in a very difficult situation when we can actually see that you have betrayed the people of Kenya throughout your life. You've never stood with the people of Kenya. When they wanted you to think about them during the finance bill, you stood with the oppressors. When the Gen Zs were being killed, You stood with the oppressors. You were given a chance to redeem yourself. The finance bill came the second time. You still stood with the oppressors. When the people of Kenya were being persecuted, you never said a word. You know, neutrality in times of war is siding with the enemy. So in my heart, and this is not the party's position, it's my personal position. In my heart, I'm finding it very difficult to just accept you so that you can just win back. Win back and do what? What do you want to do in your new term? What is the Damascus thing that you have seen that you think that you cannot do in the new term that you have not done now? What if we get ourselves in the same situation? Won't you do the same as you did the other time? So those are very hard questions that we shall ask those who want to cross over. It will be a difficult conversation. I want to hear it. I am chairing that committee, so I don't want to preempt.
Nimbaya. If you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it. Tell me this as we start concluding. The candidature of Riggy G as a presidential candidate, I mean, without pulling no words, this is a man who's loved and hated in equal measure. There's some who would prefer him rather being a kingmaker than being on the ballot in 2027. Because there might be a fallout, and I'm pretty sure as political actors you're anticipating this. If you go the Riggy G way, wouldn't there be a fallout if Matiang'i says, well, why have Tai been left behind? So what do you tell those who might see him, your party leader, as a double-edged sword, loved and hated in equal measure?
First, he's the presidential candidate of DCP. First and foremost, before even the second statement, he's a presidential candidate of our party. You go to the national table, you put his credentials. If it favors him, he'll be the presidential candidate. And there's nothing like Sifuna didn't like him, so and so didn't like him. First, he can't be liked by everybody. He can't be voted for by everybody. It has never happened. Nobody has ever been on an election, and it is unanimous since we got our independence in 1963. So there are those who like him, there are those who not like him. The point that we are making, and I'm making, and this is what I think, and I've said it countless times, William Ruto is a dangerous animal that must be hunted from more directions. I always ask the principals, let's all go out and actively mobilize votes, because there's nobody who can become president, and you're waiting in a hotel or at home. Let's all go out, so that those of us from Mount Kenya and the Masai region, we are led by Rigathi Gachagua, and we lock out Mr. William Ruto. You saw the way we stifled him in Kalau. You know, the way we put him in a corner, difficult, we embarrassed him. And by the way, let me tell you, Rogers, because I come from that locality. Those 5,000 votes that you saw were because that young man called Mushina has been manager of CDF for 13 years. He's an elder of the Full Gospel Church. Sorry. I mean, he's the son of a woman. So we just couldn't let him just go home with nothing. So at least he just got the 5,000.
So if
it was William Ruto, my brother, let me tell you, if it was William Ruto, and I am anticipating a situation in our region, because now I have a bird's eye view when I'm the Secretary General of the party. And I can tell you, because if you are at 86%, we can push it to 97%. And let me tell you, these 86% were votes that were casted between 6 in the morning and midday. Because, you know, after midday, there was a lot of violence, so there were no people who were voting. So we would have pushed it beyond 90%.
Okay.
I am foreseeing a situation in Mount Kenya where William Ruto will not get agents. So if all of us were to do the same, I have seen by my colleague, Senator Sifuna, doing so well. He's mobilizing Western so that they can now be, one solid unit. We want, Kalonzo Musyoka is also doing very well, to mobilize the people from Lower Eastern, all of them. The other people from Orengo, Babu Owino, we want them to deal with Nyanza. Then Nairobi and the Coast region will be for all of us, we'll fight it out. That way, William Ruto will not even go to court. In fact, if you were to put, do you know, and I wonder whether you saw in Kalau, their concession came at 5:30. The concession of the UDA team came at 5:30. We want to push William Ruto to that level. That within the first 50, 60, 70, 100, 200 polling stations, he can say, oh, this thing is gone, and it has happened.
Talk is cheap.
No,
and I say this
I'm
because
saying,
let me
saying
ask.
Okay.
Talk is cheap, because at the end of the day, this is a man you campaigned for, and you saw how effective he is in the campaign trail. People have said time and time again, he's never lost an election. And this time round, he has the support of arguably one of the largest parties in the country, ODM, over the last 20 years. Irrespective of the scatter some or gather all, whatever approach they're using, this is still a party that is formidable, that has a support base in a region that they have predominantly, controlled over the last few years. So it's no easy task.
It's no easy task, but as you have correctly put it, we have campaigned for William Ruto, so we know him. We are fighting a person that we know. There's nothing as easy as fighting a person that you know. We know his weaknesses. We know his strengths. We know how he thinks. We were with him for 2 years. We worked with him for 2 years. So we know his weaknesses. And as you count the wins that he have made, why don't you actually also realize that about 50% of his support came from the region that now has left him?
That's true. Lima imeenda ndio.
And you
But
see,
ameongeza
and
nini?
you see, this one has been proven. Ordinarily and originally, this Masai, for example, was meant to be an ODM zone. Is that not so? We went there. Because we are dealing with statistics, facts and figures.
True.
We went there and we went to Narok. That's the only direction that has been in Masai. What happened? It was taken by DCP. So it tells you and it shows you. In Rift Valley, for example, in Rift Valley, he got about 90-something%. In the same Rift Valley, we went to a by-election. We got 37%. It tells you that William Ruto, in terms of support, is bleeding and bleeding heavily. I've told you that the ODM that he has, for all practical purposes, is a shell. Because ODM ordinarily was predominant in the Western Kenya. You've seen the kind of wave that has been brought by Sifuna. Honestly, you can't say that ODM is the same. You can't say that the support that ODM had is the same. I've just given you an example. If this Kajiado here, they had 10 MCAs elected on ODM. Yesterday, they joined DCP. You honestly can't just keep quiet and bury your head in the sand and say that Mr. William Ruto, and don't say that it's not doable. The other person who was acting just like William Ruto was Lazarus Chakwera. He was, he was first-time president. He looked as religious as Mr. William Ruto. He was always very prayerful. He was crying in churches. You know, the way William Ruto cries in churches. Oh, he was crying every time. But he still went home. By the way, the person who took home Lazarus Chakwera, I don't know whether you have read that bit of history. He only did 19 rallies in the whole republic, just 19 rallies, because he's 84 years old. So he was, he was a bit frail. And he still took him home. Yeah. And he took him the first round. And he won with a very huge majority. I'm foreseeing a situation where even if any of us leaves this united opposition, the people will still remain together. You leave, but you leave alone. If I was to turn around today, or another person was to turn around the other day, you'd be like Lot's wife. You just turned into a stone. The rest of the people will just continue.
Okay, so briefly, what do you make of Sifuna, Linda Mwananchi? They've had a couple of bottlenecks despite the crowds turning up for their political rallies or Meet the People tours. ORPP seems it's a little bit of challenge in terms of booking the name they wanted. Just today they spoke about goons being organized in Nyanza and Migori, if I'm not wrong, to sort of, in Homa Bay and Migori, to come and disrupt their political meetings that are planned. Will they sustain the momentum? Is it just a wave? From your political knowledge, is this an idea whose time has come?
All these political issues are wait and see. You can never say that you can forecast or say what will happen in the next 7 months. I am sure last year, time like now, there was a presidential candidate who looked like he's a man of the moment. He is now plummeted. Without mentioning names, he's plummeted and he looks like just an ordinary presidential candidate. And it's not to say, by the way, I am very proud of Senator Sifuna, my colleague, because within a very short while, he has achieved what very few leaders have been able to achieve. What Mudavadi and Wetangula have tried for so many years, he seems to have cracked that particular bit of uniting the Luhya nation. And let me tell you, they were PP trying to stop Linda Mwananchi from registering a party is curing diarrhea by stitching the exit. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just
an effort in futility.
It's an effort in futility because a party is people. A party is not just a name. You know, there are many parties who participated in all Kalau.
Okay.
But DCP got 36,000 votes. UDA got 5,000 votes. Party number 3 got 300. Party number 4, party number 3 was PDP 300. Jubilee 178. PNU 28 votes. All these parties, you know, a party is members. A party is support. A party without members is nothing. And let me tell you, when William Ruto left Jubilee and joined PDR, which quickly became UDA, the people moved and left Jubilee at that time. And that is what exactly will happen. The people is not, ODM is not ODM without the people. So once you first get the people, getting a vehicle is the easiest thing. It's like putting people together and you're going to town. So you're just waiting for a Matatu. You just put them in the Matatu, but you already have the people. But coming with a Matatu without people, you are doing no business. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
In my opinion, if my brother Senator Sifuna does his arithmetics well, he's headed in good tidings. Good tidings because he's stealing virgin land. The Luhya nation is virgin land, in my opinion. And if he was to invest his energy and effort there, I'm sure, maybe now or in future, is something that will help him and prop him as a national leader, the one that is coming up with.
Okay.
This support, you know, many people make bad assumptions. And I hope he can actually see. Many people make bad assumptions. Oh, I'm the leader of Gen Zs. There's nothing like the leader of Gen Zs. Because Gen Zs from Mount Kenya will be with Rigathi Gachagua. Gen Zs from Lower Eastern will be with Kalonzo Musyoka.
Really?
Gen Zs from for example...
Really? They proved that they're tribalists.
But when we went to vote in Ol Kalou, the Gen Zs...
Were they registered?
No, the ones that were there. I mean, the ones that were the young people. Let me not call them Gen Zs.
Okay.
The young people who voted in Ol Kalou,
Yeah.
they supported Rigathi Gachagua. Because ultimately, they may be tribeless, but ultimately you have a tribe. There's nobody who's tribeless. Ultimately you have a tribe. You are Rogers, you call yourself 2 English names, but you have a tribe. You're not tribeless. Ultimately you have a tribe.
Okay, we'll talk about that after. As we finalize, Senator, we happen to have this conversation on International Youth Day, where, of course, Kenya joins the world in celebrating the youth, the heartbeat of our nation. And if the past few years have taught us anything, Kenyans, especially the youth, are not waiting for the future. They're keen on building in it now. They're bold enough to dream, resilient enough to rise, and courageous enough to demand change. So, what's your message to the youthful population and perhaps those who are youthful at heart? Because at the end of the day, you're a youthful senator, and many might listen, not just hear to what you have to say.
By the way,
Yeah.
I'm not a youthful senator, I'm a youth.
What's the difference?
You can be youthful,
Okay.
but being a youth is specific. You are below 35.
You're 35,
Yes,
not below 35.
but I'm 35.
Okay,
So when I'm 35, I'm a youth.
indeed.
And that is what is that is what is contained in the Constitution. And let me say this, Rogers. The young people have proven, especially now, because I would say Sifuna is youthful, Cleopas Malala is youthful. The young people have actually proven that they can actually not wait to be leaders of tomorrow. They can put efforts and be leaders now. I serve as the Secretary General of one of the largest parties that we have around, a young person. I'm very happy for Rigathi Gachagua giving me an opportunity to serve at this age. I want to encourage the young people. First, don't give up on your country. You have no attitude of giving up. because you live in this country longer.
Yeah.
You have a very huge future ahead of you. Now, if I'm 35 today, Oburu Odinga is 83. I have another 48 years to live before I get to the level, before I get to the age of Oburu Odinga. So I'll live in this country, if God gives me the same number of years, for another 48 years. So we cannot give up on our country. Number two, we cannot take a backseat in terms of the decisions of this country. We are the largest population. Go out and register as voters. Do not sit at home and complain that IDs are not being given. Follow, force your way, ensure that you get an ID, ensure that you register as a voter. You're only useful to the nation when you can be able to help us make certain decisions. All these issues that we are speaking about, corruption, want-away corruption, mismanagement of national of resources. Now we've seen that our forest cover has been, has gone down significantly. If you go to Abadeas, because we bought Abadeas, trees have been cut down right, left, and center. But the people who bear this blunt are the young people. So you have to come out and vote out for good leaders, because, especially for the president, and this is my conviction, the conviction of my heart, if you have a bad parliament and a good president, that country will actually stand. But if you get a bad president and a good parliament, that country cannot stand. So you have to come out fast and make that very critical decision of getting a good president. And in this election of 2027, the youth are main stakeholders.
They're not a myth. Others think they're a myth. It's not a voting block you can...
If it were to be a myth, if it were to be a myth,
yeah,
look at the people who are now making even the bad decisions. The person who is taking this country down in terms of our security apparatus is Kipchumba Murkomen, who is youthful. Even bad decisions are being made by bad young people. So the young people cannot actually fold their hands and say that, oh, this thing is undoable. And you have also learned from Molkalao. Taking William Ruto home is as easy as ABC. You saw it in Olkalau. He invested everything, and he only got 13%. So it is possible. If you come out and vote, it will be possible for us to cure this problem. It will be possible for us to vote in for a good president. And we want to tell you that those of us who are ahead of you, who've been given positions of leadership, we shall ensure that we try our best to make your path a bit neat and a bit better, so that you don't have to really struggle. You can say that I want to be a leader so that I can be like so-and-so. I want to be a leader so that I can be like so-and-so. And that's why we are putting our best foot forward, so that we can actually give the best to this nation. By the way, do you actually also know part of our political history that the people who fought for our freedom, the Mau Mau, were most of them young people, including those who were killed. Then Kimathi died a young person. China, all those people were in the forest. All those people were in the forest. They were all young people. So it is possible, if we fought for freedom and we were fighting with pangas, fighting people with guns, we can actually fight for this liberation.
Definitely. And even as we try and cure the issue of voter apathy, especially amongst the youth, because when you look at 2022, there are more people who didn't vote than those who actually voted for the winning presidential candidate. So let's see how the cookie crumbles, as they say. Senator Methu, asante sana for your time. Hoping for frequent deliberations, especially since you're the mouthpiece of DCP party. This is the first. Let it not be the last.
Let me just say this final thought.
Yes.
I want to really thank KTN and the Standard Group, because you've stood very firm, and despite extreme intimidation, you've proven that it is possible to be independent and report things as they are, without prejudice, without adding or removing or subtracting or dividing or fear or favor.
Yes.
You just say things as they are. I've seen your headline for tomorrow. That is the headlines that we want. And we shall continue.
I hope you'll hold the same sentiment when we are calling you to account. When the shoe is on the other foot.
With great power comes greater accountability.
Asante.
And finally, a vision without delivery is deception. A vision without delivery is deception. Anybody who tells you that beyond 2030, if it has no delivery, A vision without delivery is deception. Those are my concluding remarks.
Asante sana, Senator. Thanks for your time, a fruitful, timely conversation. All the best as you continue with the campaign trail. Hope you'll have time for us as members of the Fourth Estate, because civic education at the end of the day is very important.
I didn't even notice that it has been 1.5 hours.
Asante. Time flies when you're having fun. Senator,
Thank you.
asante sana.
Thank you, brother.
Let's